Them held the police department accountable.
Okay.
Yeah, when you look at his record in Newark, it means I've been looking and studying his record in Newark, and let me tell you about it. This is a more prepared Joe Biden to take on the incoming. And as you hear the former vice president saying there, his whole thing, as John, you were saying, past and future, right? But he says, they want to talk about my past. I am happy to defend my record. They too have records and they don't look as good. And that shows a Joe Biden who is more poised to hit back than we had seen. And yes, he said he'd be less polite. I think that's an indication to donors and supporters. Fret not, folks. I understand what happened in Miami, and that is not going to be the final part of this story I'm writing in my campaign.
I wonder if the crime bill part sort of cancels itself out. So he's sort of warning Kamala Harris, oh, yeah, you want to go after my past? I'm going to bring up some of the things that you did as a prosecutor. And there you heard Cory Booker, the same type of tit for tat thing. So I wonder if they're even going to go there in the debate, or if that all cancels itself out. Well, do Democrats want to have a fight about their criminal justice past?
Well, they're in a battle to win the nomination, and they do want to appeal to voters. And I do think there's always a danger. You remember this happened to Tim Pawlenty back in 2012. When you foreshadow a fight that you want to take, Tim Pawlenty did this with Mitt Romney, and then you show up on the debate stage and you don't take it, it kind of looks like a potential weakness moment, right? So now I think Joe Biden, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris have set the stage. They do want to engage in this.
Interesting.
Any risk in taking on two African-American senators, because Vice President Biden also talked about Kamala Harris's record really as Attorney General of California on criminal justice, on issues that are connected to race?
I think there is probably some risk, but John, as you know, Joe Biden's strength right now in the polls is largely due, in the Democratic nomination race, is largely due to his overwhelming support among African Americans.
It's really interesting, isn't it?
I mean, he is the one who is winning the biggest share, and by far, of the African American vote, which is so critical in a Democratic nomination race. So yes, there may be some potential risk. Joe Biden, of course, is not new to this game of dealing with politics, and I think that in the cost-benefit analysis, it was such a problem for him that he didn't respond to the attack effectively in Miami, that is probably first and foremost on his to-do list.
Okay, so here's another policy difference, and that is on healthcare and Medicare for all. And so former VP Biden talked about what he thinks of the plan for Medicare for all. Listen to this.
Well, you got to find $30 to $40 trillion somewhere. And how are you going to do it? Well, I find that people will say that for Medicare for all, that they're not going to tax the middle class because they don't need to do that. Come on. What is this? Is this a fantasy world here?
Fantasy world.
Fantasy world. And listen, Kamala Harris, for the last 6 months of this presidential campaign, has struggled to just be 100% clear and definitive on where she stands on healthcare. Now, I know her campaign would disagree with my assessment of that, but she has been in sort of vague spaces, perhaps deliberately, but in terms of being crystal clear. One thing she has now been crystal clear on is that she will not raise middle-class taxes at all to help pay for transitioning the American healthcare system from one that is largely based in private insurance into Medicare for all. Bernie Sanders says that's not realistic. The author of Medicare for All, he claims he's totally willing to raise those taxes because everyone's healthcare costs will go down, and he thinks the trade-off is better. Kamala Harris says no to middle-class taxes, which does open her up to this kind of criticism from somebody like Biden, who is opposed to Medicare for All, and is going to say, you're not being realistic in how you're saying you're going to pay for it.
And I think may show he's much more willing to claim a centrist space on that debate stage than he did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Going to be very interesting. We'll see you in Detroit.
Yes.
David Chalian, thank you very much.
2 big nights, 10 candidates each night. You can watch the CNN Democratic presidential debates live from Detroit Tuesday and Wednesday nights next week, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on CNN.
Okay, we're just getting some breaking news now about disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, who has been found injured in jail. We'll bring you the developments as we know them next.
You can just sit down for the rest of your life and watch movies from the 70s.
John Belushi was one of the breakout stars from Saturday Night Live.
We'll always be together, and they're flying off. What? Why are they flying?
All of these movies that came out, they were very inventive and really rich and smart.
The movies we love and the stories behind them. Sunday night on CNN.
Shh. We're sneaking. Just like IHOP sneaking into the chicken game. With crispy chicken made with all-natural chicken breast. Actually, let's go back to IHOP.
New chicken and pancakes, only $6.99 at IHOP.
People with type 2 diabetes are excited about the potential of once-weekly Ozempic. In a study with Ozempic, a majority of adults lowered their blood sugar and reached an A1C of less than 7 and maintained it.
Oh, under 7.
And you may lose weight. In the same one-year study, adults lost on average up to 12 pounds.
Oh, up to 12 pounds.
A 2-year study showed that Ozempic does not increase the risk of major cardiovascular events like heart attack, stroke, or death.
Oh, no increased risk.
Ozempic should not be the first medicine for treating diabetes or for people with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis. Do not share needles or pens. Don't reuse needles. Do not take Ozempic if you have a personal or family history of medullary thyroid cancer, multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, or if you are allergic to Ozempic. Stop taking Ozempic and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, itching, rash, or trouble breathing. Serious side effects may happen, including pancreatitis. Tell your doctor if you have diabetic retinopathy or vision changes. Taking Ozempic with a sulfonylurea or insulin may increase the risk for low blood sugar. Common side effects are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, and constipation. Some side effects can lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems.
I discovered the potential with Ozempic.
If eligible, you may pay as little as $25 per prescription. Ask your healthcare provider today about once-weekly Ozempic.
When you need the fuel to be your nephew's #1 fan, Holiday Inn Express. We're there so you can be too.
I put a spell on you, made you a mark to my flame.
Killer Neighbors, an all-new season of vengeance. Premieres August 4th on HLN.
If you need furniture, mark down 10 a.m. Saturday on your calendar. It's the start of the Rooms to Go Summer Sale and Clearance, our once-a-season store-wide sale, where we slash prices on hundreds of clearance items to make room for all the new fall styles on the way. Get amazing summer sale savings on living rooms, bedrooms, dining rooms, mattresses, and more. Plus, get interest-free financing. Quantities are limited. When they're gone, they're gone. So shop the start of the Rooms to Go Summer Sale and Clearance this Saturday at 10 a.m.
Millennium Physician Group is much more than just a physician group. With physician offices and patient services throughout Florida, Millennium is one of the largest independent physician groups in our area, with over 300 healthcare providers, 85 locations, including imaging centers, walk-in medical centers. We are the choice for healthcare in Florida. Now offering pre-online check-ins, online lab appointments, skip the wait registration at our walk-ins, and so much more. Call us first when you are feeling sick. Your health is waiting. Millennium Physician Group, your connection to a healthier life.
The CNN Democratic presidential debates, starting Tuesday at 8 on CNN.
We have some breaking news right now because CNN has learned that disgraced multimillionaire Jeffrey Epstein was found injured in his jail cell. CNN's Jean Casares is live in New York with the breaking details. Do we know what that means, Jean?
Good morning. What we have just confirmed with a source is that Jeffrey Epstein actually was found injured in the Metropolitan Correctional Center that he is in, being housed right now, bail denied, in New York. And authorities are trying to determine if this was self-inflicted or if it was caused by another, an assault. So that is the issue that authorities are dealing with right now. But the fact is that Jeffrey Epstein, who is being housed on multiple sex offenses against women in New York, Southern District of New York, is now been found injured. Allison?
Jean, please come back to us when you learn any more details about what happened inside that jail cell. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other big news this morning, the fertility rate in the United States fell to yet an all-time low in 2018, according to a new report by the CDC. CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, is here with us to discuss. Sanjay, what's behind these numbers?
Well, they're still trying to sort out like exactly what's driving this, but this is sort of the lowest number in at least 3 decades in terms of the fertility rate dropping 2%. And in 2017, the last time these numbers were recorded, they saw that the fertility rate had dropped low enough that the population essentially was not sort of sustaining itself, meaning that the fertility rate dropped lower than the population needed to sort of sustain the numbers. So the concern is that you're going to start to see population contraction here. And as you know, in the past, John, we've talked about the fact that life expectancy is also dropping in the United States. So you put these two things together. We did see 2% drop, but you also saw a drop among teen pregnancies as well, 7%. So maybe a little bit of good news in there. But in order to try and sort out these numbers, they got to really dig into what's driving this now.
But Sanjay, I mean, what I'm confused about is this by choice that people are choosing to have fewer kids, or is this something medical happening?
Yeah, it seems that it's more a reflection of the environment. So, for example, we know that after significant recessions, fertility rates start to drop. So the recessions of the 2000s, are we now starting to see the impact on fertility at this point? More women entering the labor force, higher educational attainment, women having babies later in life. Could that also be dropping the fertility rate? These are probably all factors, and maybe they're all playing some sort of role, and that will be the answer finally. But once you get these sorts of numbers that come out, and these are obviously numbers that people within the public health community pay a lot of attention to, then they got to sort of go back and reverse engineer it and try and figure out what's really driving that.
Other big news in the medical community today, Sanjay, the pharmaceutical company Allergan has issued a worldwide recall of a certain type of breast implant and tissue expanders that have been linked to rare cancer.
Yeah.
But what is this rare cancer, Sanjay?
Well, this is a type of lymphoma. And people may know the term lymphoma. It basically means a cancer of the lymphatic system, lymph nodes, tissue, that sort of thing. They've been concerned about this for some time. We first heard about this back in 2011. A specific type of breast implant called a textured breast implant was associated at that point with this lymphoma. Now they say that they've got enough evidence to basically say, look, there is a connection here. We need to recall these breast implants and stop implanting them. It's rare. I think we have the numbers here. So when you start looking globally, you're talking hundreds, 573 cases worldwide, 33 deaths. So these aren't super high numbers, but again, the association now clear enough that they're saying there needs to be a recall on these devices overall.
So what do women do if they have that type of implants?
Important and really important question, right? Because the answer right now, and we asked about this, is not to remove the implants, not to go have an operation to remove the implants. The answer, they say right now, for women who have these types of textured breast implants, which are more rare, less commonly performed than the traditional breast implants,
on the judiciary,
is to monitor the women. Be aware that this type of lymphoma is associated with it, and monitor them. It could mean imaging studies, it could mean blood work, but to know that this is a possible but rare side effect, consequence of these types of breast implants, and to keep an eye on it.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, thank you very, very much. And Sanjay keeps saying and reporting, the mortality rate in the United States, we're dying younger and we're having fewer children. All the rest of the news we report may not be as important as those two trends about how much less we are living and less we're reproducing. It's fascinating.
Yes, we need more people.
Yeah. The good stuff is next.
Most people think a button is just a button. That a speaker is just a speaker. Or that the journey can't be the destination. Most people haven't driven a Lincoln.
Discover the Lincoln approach to craftsmanship at the Lincoln Summer Invitation. Right now, get 0% APR on all 2019 Lincoln vehicles plus no payments for up to 90 days. Only at your Lincoln dealer.
Upgrade your style with over 250 floors on sale now at Lumber Liquidators Flooring Company. Save up to 36% on premium Bellawood hardwood floors, plus 24 months special financing. Lumber Liquidators. Beautiful floors for less.